Hey folks, Colin here from Sumthins Recording, and today I'm going to show you the #1 reason why your acoustic guitars don't sit right in your mix using a couple simple EQ moves. This will ensure that all your guitars sit together inside the mix, giving you a more clean and polished sound. To begin here, let me play you the finished mix, and you can hear how the electric, acoustic guitars, and even the keyboards all sit together because these simple moves we've done on our acoustic guitar to get it to sit inside the mix. So let me play you the finished mix with these moves in on the acoustic guitar. All right, now let me solo up the electric guitars here. And we'll solo up our acoustics. We'll throw our keyboards in as well for the moment. So here's just the instruments, disregarding the bass and the drums. Notice our acoustic guitars aren't way out front. They don't feel like they're sitting in a weird spot. They don't feel like they're taking over the mix, but you can still tell that they're the driving instrument, and you can still tell that they're the main instrument inside this mix here, or the main focus point. So what we're going to do is we're going to solo up our acoustics here, and I'm going to show you what we did here. All we need to do is a couple moves to ensure that our acoustic guitars aren't too big, that they're not fighting the drums, that they're not taking over all of the space in the mix. Because acoustic guitars can be very full range instruments, especially if you double track them like we have here. We've got a left and a right. If you do this, your acoustic guitars, your acoustic guitars can get very big very quickly. They can dwarf your drums. They can dwarf tons of electric guitars. The same thing can happen with your keyboards. They can dwarf your instruments. So what we did here is we rolled off our high and low end, and we emphasized the mid-range, so it sits with the rest of our electric guitars and keyboards, but we still leave a space for the bass, and we still leave a space for the low end on the kick drum, and the high end for our cymbals and other instruments that we have filling those ranges to shine through. And notice we're not even boosting in like this 4 or 5K area, so we're leaving space for our vocals to shine through. Okay, so what we're doing is we're focusing in on this mid-range, and that's the part we're emphasizing on this acoustic guitar, so it sits and melds in with the rest of our instruments. Let me take off all our processing here and show you the acoustic guitars as they came in. These are raw recorded acoustic guitars. Now, they sound great. If we wanted them to be like huge, and we wanted them to take over, if we didn't have all these other elements, these keys, these electric guitars, if we wanted our main instrument, our only instrument to be our acoustic guitars, we could mix them huge and full range and pretty like that. But we don't want to do that. We want to leave room for our other guitars. We want to meld them together with our acoustics as well as our keys. We want to sit these guitars inside the mix, so they're not taking over and they're not dwarfing any of our other instruments. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to roll off that low end. So let me take off our other two moves, and we'll take off our compressor for the moment. I'll A/B this high pass filter, and you can hear how it cleans up our low end on our acoustic here. Now, just by itself soloed like this, it really sounds like it thins out the acoustic guitar. But bear in mind, all that low-end energy that we got rid of leaves room for our bass and our kick drum to shine through. We don't want this kind of low, boomy area on our acoustic guitar to be fighting our bass sound or to be fighting our kick drum sound in the mix. We want to leave room for those, and we want to emphasize the area on the acoustic guitar that we really want to hear inside the mix, which is going to be this mid-range area. Now, the next move we're going to do here is we're going to roll off some of that pretty top end. Now, I know what you're thinking. It sounds great. Why would we get rid of it? Because we want to emphasize the mid-range on the guitar. We don't want our acoustics to be so full range in a mix like this. If it was just acoustic guitars, if we had more acoustic guitars, if it was a different style mix, we could leave that pretty high end in and even boost some of it up. And I'll show you, I'll boost this high end area up and I'll show you some of the pretty high end that we could add if we wanted our acoustic guitars to sit more out front and dominate a little bit more. But we don't in this case. We want to sit them in, we want to meld them in with our electrics and our keyboards. So I'll A-B this low-pass filter and also boost up a little bit of this high-end area so you can hear what we could boost up if we wanted to. So there is a lot of really nice air, really nice pretty sound up on top. You get a little bit of that crispiness and a lot of that airiness on the acoustic guitar. And that would be great if we didn't have all of these other instruments. Even if we just had an acoustic guitar and vocal, all that pretty high end would be gorgeous. But like I said, acoustic guitars can be very full range and they can very quickly dwarf your drums. Let me give you a little bit of an example of that. Let me take off this EQ here and let me play you just the acoustic guitar and just the drums. And you can hear how the acoustic guitar sounds almost just as big as our huge drum sound without this EQ in. So notice when I get rid of that EQ there, that gets rid of our low end and gets rid of our top end, it really kind of makes the guitar sound a little bit too boomy and it really starts to fight with our drum sound. So all we're doing here is we're focusing our EQ, our frequency range on our acoustic guitar to get it to sit inside this mix. So we've got our high pass in, we've got our low pass in. Now all we're going to do is we're going to emphasize a little bit of the mid-range area to give these guitars their own space and to help them meld a little bit more with our electric guitars here. See, we're emphasizing the same kind of mid-range area, not the same area, but a little bit of the same space on our electrics. So by boosting the same kind of area on our acoustics, it's going to help them blend together a little bit and be kind of one movement, one force to drive our song. So let me A-B this move here for you at 1K. We're at exactly 1K, and I'll boost it up, and you can hear the range that we are emphasizing here on our guitars. So it's kind of that honky area. It's a little jangly sounding, but a little bit of this jangliness can be good in this case. As I said, it's going to help them blend with the electric. So even just that move, let me A-B that with just our main electric guitars here. I A-B'd the whole EQ against those electrics as well. Notice when I click that off, we get a lot of like low end and sub information, and it sounds like our bass comes in, our bass or our kick drum comes in a little bit. So that area really needs to be reserved for our low end information. That's why we're rolling this off here. Also, again, when I kick that EQ in, it really helps focus our acoustic guitars, and they sit a lot better with our electrics. So let's throw all our instruments in. And we'll A-B just these instruments, then we'll kick it in with the full mix here. So by focusing the frequency range on our acoustic guitar, by getting rid of that excess low end, by getting rid of that excess high end, and giving a little bit of exaggeration to our 1K area, we help to make sure our acoustic guitar doesn't get too big for its britches and kind of take over or dominate everything. It sits in its own little space there. It's not flying all over the place, low end, high end. It sits in its own little space here in the mid-range. It sits with the rest of our electric guitars as they're kind of sitting in that same kind of mid-range area. And it sits with our keys as well. And make sure it doesn't fight with the rest of our instruments. So let's throw everything in now. And we'll do the same kind of thing. I'll pull that EQ off, and you can hear when that low end comes in, you'll hear how it fights with the bass and the kick drum as well. Take a listen. Things get a little bit more unbalanced when we pull this EQ out, and it kind of sounds like our bass gets a little out of focus, gets a little out of balance there on the low end. So by making this move here on our acoustic guitar, we help to focus our bass as well as focus our acoustic guitar. So double duty there. I hope that was helpful for you. If you want to go a little bit deeper into the mixing process and you want to learn to optimize your workflow, then I have a gift for you. This is my 7-step mixing checklist. You can download it using the link in the description below. It is a free resource that I want you to have. This will guide you through the mixing process step by step to help you get professional radio-ready mixes without the guesswork and without the hassle. Thank you so much for watching. I appreciate you guys, and I will see you in the next video.